nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. Real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
And here we go, as I pull my microphone down so I can hear myself and you can hear me on this Monday, the 18th day of, what month is this? September 2023. You are in the midst of Real Talk Memphis. Welcome in to this edition on a very beautiful Monday evening in the city. Wow, what a gorgeous day it was today. Temperatures in the low 80s. Very nice. By the way, you do know that fall is right around the corner. The official name, of course, is the autumnal equinox, and that is about to take place in about maybe, 7 days, 6-7 days, something like that. Temperatures cooling down, although we will see temps rise to maybe the mid to upper 80s, no 90s in the forecast. So a slow exit for summer straight ahead. But very happy to have you with us this evening. I hope you will make us part of your plan for at least the next hour. We have a pretty good show for you this evening. Of course, you just heard Level Lola, another great episode of that broadcast. Always mellows me out when I don't know if part of her show mellows me out, and the other part of her show ratchets me up a little bit because, you hear songs that you hadn't heard in a while, and she putting them mixes together and everything. So nice job on that. So how do you get this fine piece of radio broadcasting? I'm so happy that you ask. Right now we're on 91.7 WYXR on the FM side. We are also on the WYXR app. You can catch us there. You can also catch us on the TuneIn, TUNEIN app. And we are on Facebook Live. We're live streaming on Facebook Live this evening. And when the show posts tomorrow, you can catch us on YouTube if that is your thing. And as we are a podcast, you can catch us after the show posts wherever it is you get your favorite podcast. And I know we're one of your favorite podcasts, because we just are. So that is how you can contact us, find us, reach us, the whole 9 yards. Tonight's guests are kind of varied, I would say, various categories here. Our first guest in just a few minutes is Sarah Houston. She is the Executive Director of Protect Our Aquifer. And there are some interesting things happening with our water. One thing people say about Memphis water is that it is probably the best in the country. Very pristine, very clear, and generally speaking, no problems to speak of. Well, that might be changing just a little bit. That's why I asked Sarah to come back on the show to kind of give us an update on what is happening in that particular area. A little bit later on, we're going to be speaking with Monique Williams. Now, you're asking yourself, who is Monique Williams? Well, Monique is a restaurant owner, and more importantly, she was recently appointed to be an alderwoman in the city of Bartlett. She is the first black alder man in the history of Bartlett to hold that position. And so she's going to talk a little bit about that, how she sees why she decided to go for that in the first place, and how she sees her responsibilities for that city moving forward. And a little bit later on in the second half hour of the show, we're going to be talking about your health, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sickle Cell Awareness Month, in case you did not know. And we're going to be talking with a doctor, Dr. Zacheaus. He is a scientist, he is an educator, and he's also oversees Fahari Health. And they're going to be having a very special health program seminar event coming up here, which basically will tell you about all the bad foods that you're eating and how you need to exercise more and the whole 9 yards, and get us kind of straight physically, and of course get our appetites right, get our heads right, get our bodies right as well. We will get to all of that in just a few minutes, but on this 18th day of September, let's talk about birthdays. Many of you are celebrating birthdays today in this month of September. And of course, what we like to do is shout you out, celebrate you for the person that you are. And of course, you have made yet another year. And we like to celebrate that accomplishment with the big shout out. But we can't do the shout out until I say, hit it, Brent.
Happy birthday!
Lola winding up. Getting ready to get in position here in just a minute. Happy birthdays going out to the following folks. Tiffany Washington Rainey celebrating today. Grace Amanda Cosme having a birthday today. Erica Ransom. Erica is my niece, by the way, and she lives out in Northern California. She's celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday, Erica. Melissa Miller Solids is celebrating her birthday today, as is Shannon Downey, Deborah Johnson, Rosalind Holmes, Michael Farmer, Laquita Davis is celebrating today, as is Cheryl Williams. Jeff Calkins, the award-winning sports writer, is celebrating his birthday today. Clarice Randall, happy birthday to you. Terry McLaughlin and Shannon Downey and Lola.
And a happy birthday all the way to St. Louis for my cousin, Robert McGregor. Happy birthday, cuz. Love you much.
Happy birthday, cuz Robert. Listen, to each and every one of you out there who are celebrating your birthday today or sometime this week or maybe even over the weekend, happy birthday. I hope that this day has been filled with love and laughter, and that, well, we're here next year to celebrate your next trip around the sun. Thank you, Brent. All right, so let's dig in here and see what is happening in the wonderful world of news and notes. By the way, for those of you who, before I forget about this, for those of you who watch local news and weather in particular, Jim Jaggers has been in the television weather business as a meteorologist for some 46 years. Well, he is retiring from Channel 3. Actually, he has just retired from Channel 3 this week. David Oswald, so that's Tim Simpson left. And, we had him on the show here about a month or so ago. And now Jim is headed for retirement as well. So we wish him the best of luck. We were colleagues way back when at Fox 13. Knows what he's talking about. He is going to definitely be missed. In other news and notes, early voting, ladies and gentlemen, is underway. You may have heard that there's a big election happening October 5th. The early voting started this past Friday, and I think through Friday and Saturday we had somewhere over 5,000 people show up to vote so far. I don't know what the numbers are today. But this will go on for about 10 days. And then, of course, we'll be prepping for the big mayoral election and the city council election. So half the city council, by the way, is term limited, and they will be moving on. All right, which means that there are plenty of candidates out there vying to take their place. So listen, doesn't matter. Voting is important. Voting is important. Voting is something that all of us need to do. Voting is something that is a God-given right. Please don't take it for granted, okay? This election is the most consequential election we've had in decades around here, and your vote absolutely matters. With 17 people running for mayor, it won't be a majority, it will be a plurality. So your vote absolutely 100% counts. Now, you may still be trying to figure out who you want to vote for, and that's fine. You have every right to do that. But I hope you make a decision and head to the polls and cast your vote for whomever it is you feel you want to lead this city for the next 4 years. Currently, in a poll just released, the leaders, Paul Young and Sheriff Floyd Bonner, very close, within 1% or 2% of each other. And, of course, a lot of people are talking about former Mayor Dr. Willie Harrington in this race. So it's going to be very interesting. I can't predict this thing right now. I don't think a lot of people can. But the percentage of people who actually go to vote are going to be the ones who are going to make the difference in this race. Watch and see. All right, let's see here. All 5 former officers who were charged for the death of Tyree Nichols have now been federally indicted. I don't think we had this last time we chatted with each other, but they have been. They have been federally indicted on civil rights charges, in addition to the state charges. So now you're being charged by the state. Now you're being charged federally. 3 of the 5 officers have asked the court if they could have separate trials. That decision will be rendered, I think, the next time they appear in court, whenever that is. We are all still on the lookout for Tamia Taylor. Who is that, you ask? She's the 21-year-old Covington mother of 2 who was celebrating her birthday about a week ago Saturday night with 3 friends from Jackson, Tennessee, on one of the midnight booze cruises, that leave down off the river down there. She went out, and when they came back, she was missing. They have no leads. The Memphis Police Department has set up a command center down there. There's still no information on her, no new information to report. So we are absolutely praying that everything on that end turns out okay, and that she is found. As I said, she's 21 years old and the mother of 2 young children. So we are praying, absolutely praying, that she is found and recovered safely. The University of Memphis won their 3rd game in a row over the weekend, so they're 3-0, starting out well. The attendance still stinks. 25,000 people showed up when they played Navy last Thursday night on national television, but they did win. And for those of you who are keeping up with the University of Colorado, led by Coach Prime, they are 3-0 as well. They won a thrilling overtime game over the weekend, and they march on. Now, one of their players, Travis Hunter, who is this kid goes both ways. And you never see that these days where a kid plays offense and defense. That was a very chippy game, pardon the pun. A lot of emotion, a lot of talking. These kids, back and forth. And this is a heated rivalry. Well, Travis Hunter, one of the stars for the Colorado Buffaloes, took a cheap shot by a player from the Colorado State side. I mean, it was a devastating hit. It was an unnecessary hit. And Travis Hunter, the reports say he has a lacerated liver, and he could be out several weeks. So we'll be praying for him, of course. Now, the player who hit him with that cheap shot apparently has been getting death threats from folks at the University of Colorado and other folks who saw that hit as well. So, all of us who play ball, it's a rough enough sport. We don't need to go there. So we'll keep you posted as to what happens with there. And by the way, I can't think of his name now, but the head coach of the University of Michigan State, or Michigan State University, Mel Tucker, has been informed that he will be fired for actions in reference to a phone call that he made to a handicapped individual that did not turn out to be too wise a thing for him. All right, that takes a quick look at news and notes on this Monday evening. I am going to commercial, and when I get back, we should be joined by Sarah Houston, Executive Director of Protect Our Aquifer, on this Monday edition. It is so nice to be here on this Monday. I'm Chip. You know who you are. We'll take our first break of the night, and we'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
WYXR is supported by the On Stage at the Halloran Center season, presenting the Memphis Songwriters Series, hosted by Mark Eggers Stewart. Mark and his musical guests take audiences on a journey behind the music, sharing personal stories and introducing new works. The first event of the season is on Thursday, September 28th, and will feature John Namath, Sarah Spain, and Dion James. More information at orpheum-memphis.com.
University of Memphis Department of Theater and Dance presents their fall musical, Murder Ballad. Murder Ballad is a steamy and thrilling rock musical conceived by Jonathan Larson Award winner Julia Jordan, with book and lyrics by Jordan and music and lyrics by Juliana Nash. Murder Ballad runs September 20th through the 23rd at 7:30 p.m. in the Edward and Bernice Humphreys Theater Building on Central Avenue. More information can be found at memphis.edu/theater.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this beautiful Monday evening in the city. Chip with you, and of course, whenever one of the positives, one of the thumbs up that people talk about the most when they talk about the city of Memphis is the water. It has always been, above everything else, pristine, clear, and no issues. But lately there seems to be a bit of conversation that maybe our water is not as pristine as it generally is. So I brought on my first guest, who is a friend of the broadcast and apparently a friend of a lot of folks on Facebook Live, because everybody's telling me to say what's up to as we welcome in Sarah Houston. So hey, Sarah, good to see you.
Hey, Chip. Thanks for having me again.
You have a big fan club out here, by the way. All these Facebook Live folks say, tell the Water Warrior I said what's up, Jet Lucas.
Yes, I love to hear that.
Yeah,
we got Water Warriors all around the city.
You surely do, Pearl Walker. There's a lot of folks out here like you.
All right.
So, well, listen, welcome back to the show. And I know we talked about it during the break, and you talked about everybody being crazy busy these days. And I read recently about a survey that was done or just completed about our water, and there may be an issue or two that needs looking into. So kind of explain that to our listeners, if you will, exactly what's happening out there.
Yeah, definitely. So, back in the beginning of Protect Our Aquifers origin, back 2016-17, listeners might remember when TVA was going to drill in these wells across from the toxic coal ash ponds.
Yes.
So the concern was you pump a bunch of water right across from known toxic, area, you're going to pull that contamination down faster. And that was kind of this wake-up call to the community to be like, whoa. Is this a concern not only here, but elsewhere? And so back in early 2018, City Council jacked up all of our water rates 1% to pay for a study. So everybody that has an MLGW bill is paying 1% towards this big aquifer study that University of Memphis is doing.
Okay.
They just came out with the 5 years of studies saying that we are getting way more what's called modern water. So not the good 2,000-year-old artesian well water, but much younger, potentially contaminated water is seeping down into our aquifer at a rate we never realized before.
Oh, well, that's not a good thing.
It's not good, Chip. It's not good at all.
So this 5-year study revealed this, and that's an interesting term that you use: modern water versus the 2,000-year-old pristine water that we're used to. So what else did we discover? I mean, where did this come from? How did this happen?
Right. So I gotta give y'all a little geology lesson. So bear with me.
Let's go.
So, if you go straight down into the ground, like downtown Memphis, then you're going to get this shallow aquifer. We don't use that.
Okay.
That shallow aquifer is known to be polluted in lots of places. Think back in the day, we just buried chemicals, we dumped stuff on the ground. We just didn't know better.
Sure.
Then you've got this thick clay layer. You go down a little deeper. This clay layer used to be thought as just this big, thick, intense, layer of clay where pollution can't get through it. And then you get to the Memphis Aquifer. So the Memphis Aquifer is like this layered cake way down, deep,
yeah,
pristine. Well, we found out that there's actually, natural gaps in that clay. And so all the pumping that we do, we got a lot of big industry here, lots of big manufacturers that use a ton of water. And when they're pumping all that water, it's been pulling stuff down from the surface over the past 50, 100 years. And we're at this point in time, our aquifer moves slow. That's one of the best things about it. It's these little bits of sand and all this water has to get pulled through it, but it moves so dang slow, we haven't known it's a problem. But time is catching up with us. That 50-year mark when we dumped chemicals before EPA was created, it's starting to hit wells now. And we're realizing this is a much bigger issue than we ever realized. But the good thing is there's an opportunity for solutions, and conservation becomes a big part of that solution. So, I'm not going to harp on y'all for taking 15, 20-minute showers. And we all like to get a little luxurious, okay? I'm talking about big industrial water users that pump 5, 10, 15 million gallons of water a day. Those are the folks we really need to start pushing for more conservation, so we're not bringing down this nasty modern water into our good pristine aquifer.
Well, so how big of a situation is that in terms of letting folks know, the conservationists and others, that look, we have a bit of a problem here, and we need to start to look at some solutions to this problem. Is there going to be receptivity to this, Sarah, do you think, or is this going to be a bit of a fight? Or how do you see it from your perspective?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, the response is going to be mixed. The people, we're going to be ready for action. We all want to protect this resource because it is one of the best things Memphis has going for it. And, the good news is it's taken so long to get to this point. But the bad news is we know how slow politics can move. And we don't want to just be waiting around for, MLGW or the health department to, save us. This is really about the people, taking action and pushing for this type of conservation and for these types of solutions. And so I think the pushback we're going to feel is going to be more from industry that's been able to pump really pure, really cheap water for a long time. And we still want them to have business here. We want them to be able to still operate and bring jobs to this area, but we need to make sure that they are also managing and protecting this water resource that we all have to use. It's a shared resource. It doesn't belong to just one of us. It belongs to all of us.
Now, I have laid witness, as have you, to what I would consider people power, because the last time we had a little issue about some possible drilling, some companies coming in here and trying to derail some things, the people stood up. Your organization stood up, and a whole lot of folks stood up and said, not going to happen, and they moved them away. Is this something that the citizenry can get behind, Sarah, get behind your organization and other organizations who are saying, look, we have a problem. We don't want it to get any worse. Here's what we need to do to try to solve it.
That's exactly right. It's a little different than, trying to stop one company or one bad project. So it is a little different, but this is about, the community really understanding what this aquifer is and how we can protect it. So there's a public meeting that the University of Memphis is hosting this Thursday, September 21st at 5:30 p.m. It's at the Benjamin Hooks Central Library. So that's going to be kind of the science explanation, what's going on and what we know now. Protect our aquifer and hopefully some community partners. We're starting to get motivated to host some additional public meetings later this year and into next to really start that rallying cry and get people power involved, because this is the beginning. We just got this information like last week.
Yeah,
so
last
this
week.
is
Yeah.
hot off the press.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we want to make sure people know about it, but time for action is coming soon, and we really do need people power to move this stuff forward.
So I just got a question on our live stream line from your buddy Jet Lucas, and Jet wanted me to ask you this question. When you all last talked, you said something about you'd rather use just a filter on your tap rather than the bottled water that he was drinking. Given what you just said about the study, do you still believe that a filter is better than the bottled stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you, Jet and Chip. So yes, I still think filters are better. When you're drinking out of a plastic water bottle and, it's been shipped across the country, it's been in hot warehouses, hot trucks, plastic is leaching into that water. So you're drinking a little bit of plastic, but also, who knows that water source? Some of this stuff is like, Dallas public water supply. Like Dallas is drinking nasty river water. We don't want that. So I still think we have some of the best water in the country. And even in some of these areas where we're seeing, this modern water seeping in, but filters are definitely still, you need, if you have lead in the area, you want to make sure that you are still filtering your water. So still drink that Memphis Aquifer water. I promise it's going to be way better than your bottled stuff.
Well, there you go. So, before I let you get out of here, this situation is just starting to percolate, as you said. You're going to have a public meeting in just a couple of days to kind of inform the public of this because information is power. And right now, I think a lot of folks may not know about some of the issues that are cropping up. That's why these public meetings are very important. And we want to stay with you in terms of that. And please let me know when these meetings are, because this is an issue really for all of us to pay very close attention to, no?
Exactly. No, you're exactly right. So I got one more plug real quick, and then I think it's my time out of here. But Protect Our Aquifer, we're hiring 2 fellows.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Yeah. Oh, you were gonna give me there?
That's I forgot all about you got it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So if you live or work in 38109, so Southwest Memphis, or 38106 in South Memphis, those are areas that Protect Our Aquifer has worked in before. There's a lot of contamination issues and concerns down there. Legacy pollution.
Wow.
Industry's taking advantage of the area.
Yeah.
So we want to hire 2 fellows for the next 9 months, $20 an hour, 20 hours a week. It's going to be half training and then half support on how do they get active in their community. So protectouraquifer.org/now. That's got the job announcement on there, and the deadline is this Friday. So if there's any listeners out there, 38109, 38106, we would love to have y'all apply, get y'all some money, and support the cause in those neighborhoods where there's a lot of advocacy to be done.
Absolutely that. $20 an hour for the next 9 months. Be an advocate, be a water warrior under the Queen Water Warrior. Thank you, my good friend. Sarah Houston, ladies and gentlemen, Executive Director of Protect Our Aquifer. And if you need any more information, you give them a call. They will be glad to handle that. Sarah, it's always great to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show tonight. And again, keep us posted on whatever we need to do to keep the community posted as well, okay?
I appreciate that. Thanks for the work you do and keeping us all informed, Chip.
All right, take care. Take care now, Sarah. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Houston, great interview. A lot of folks are into the water deal here. I can see that on the Facebook Live line. We thank Sarah for all of her work, and we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to shift gears and we're going to talk about a history-making moment with someone who has entered the world of politics in a local community, and we're going to find out kind of how she feels she can make a difference. Michael Harris, what is up on the Facebook Live? My man, GKP. You already know who it is. Worth is checking us out tonight. Jed Lucas on the line this evening. Pearl Walker. It's good to see you, Pearl. Earl Fisher, the good Reverend Earl Fisher, is checking us out this evening. Thank you, sir. Let's see here. Dr. Denise Weber is checking us out this evening. Brett Thompson, Marshawn Chrysler, Drill McLaughlin is checking us out. Rachel Johnson, you guys are coming in tonight. I really appreciate that. Listen, let's go to Michael Williams, my man, Mike Williams. Good to see you as well. Hi, Audrey. How are you? We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue on the Monday edition of Real Talk Memphis right here. I'm Chip. Don't go away.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
Goner Records is proud to sponsor WYXR. The 20th Goner Fest is coming to Rail Garden Thursday, September 28th through Sunday, October 1st, featuring bands from all over the globe, including the OCs, the Gories, the Mummies, Coffin, Sweeping Promises, Marked Men, and over 20 more bands and DJs. Ticket and streaming information at gonerfest.com.
Music Export Memphis presents the Tambourine Bash, Thursday, October 12th at the historic Overton Park Shell. This annual celebration of collaboration is a one-of-a-kind night of Memphis music featuring more than 30 musicians and collaborative sets, culminating in a finale super jam produced by Royal Studios' Boo Mitchell. All proceeds power Music Export Memphis's grant programs for Memphis musicians. Ticket information and event details can be found at musicexportmemphis.org. The future of Memphis is in our hands. Early voting for the city elections started on September 15th and will go until September 30th. Your vote is your voice. Beat the crowds and get out to the polls early to weigh in on the leadership you want for Memphis. Schedule and polling locations at bit.ly/voteearly901.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday. Chip with you. I need to stop messing with this mic. And glad to have you back. I see my man Kelly D. Price is checking us out this evening too on Facebook Live line. Listen, my next guest is someone who I would say to say that she's busy is an understatement. She's a restaurateur. She owns a restaurant in Bartlett called Biscuits and Jams. I've actually been to that restaurant and the food is very good. But she has also endeavored to be a public servant, and recently she was selected out of a group of about, 13, 14, 15 people to fill in the seat of an alderman in the city of Bartlett who had to step away for some health reasons. And she was selected in that position. And her name is Monique Williams, and she joins me now. And Monique, it is so good to have you on the show. And let me offer my congratulations to you.
Thank you. Glad to be here. And thank you so much. I know you've come and eaten at the restaurant. We've talked.
Yes, we have. I'm glad you remember me. I'll be back one of these days pretty soon. So listen, this is a big deal because you are the first person of color to assume a position as an alderperson in the city of Bartlett in its history. So that's a big deal, Monique. And I guess I need to ask you first, how you decided that this was something that you were interested in pursuing.
So to make a long story short, I decided to go, and just to be completely honest, I didn't think I was going to get appointed. But I wanted to go just to share my voice and my thoughts. Being a small business owner in Bartlett and a resident of Bartlett, I wanted to go before the Board of Aldermen, Mayor and Aldermen, just to voice my opinion and just really put my thoughts and my feelings on the table about some things. And and maybe if I did that, my thought was someone would hear me, and then I would be able to get a platform to maybe have opportunity to discuss some things that I think would be beneficial for the city as a small business owner. Prior to being appointed as alderwoman position 4,
Yeah.
I am a member of the Bartlett Station Commission. So I was a commissioner on their board prior to taking this or being appointed to this position.
So you did have a bit of experience, in the city culture, but I think you brought a unique perspective to it, being a small business owner in Bartlett, and seeing some of the things that you had to, that you were involved in there. This is a pretty big challenge. It's interesting. You said you didn't think that you would be selected. So obviously, when you were selected, it was a big surprise. Now, I think I read somewhere recently that you recently attended your first Board of Aldermen meeting, correct?
Correct. This past Tuesday, last week. It'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. I mean, a week tomorrow. Yeah. It'll
be a week tomorrow. So what is it that you think brings you to this place? I mean, the perspective of being selected to a position like this, where you're making decisions that are based on, your constituency. You're position 4 out there, and so you have a group of people that you're responsible to in terms of some of the decisions that you make. I don't want to ask you, so far you've only been in one meeting, so you're still getting your feet wet. But I do want to ask you, now that you are in the position and maybe you've had a little time to think about it, what types of initiatives would you like to put forth in the city of Bartlett moving forward?
So the first and foremost is that I believe in community. And one of the things that I remember saying, because I was so surprised by the decision, not that I wasn't ready for it if it happened, but community. And, as being the first African-American, Black person or person of color to be on the board, Bartlett is made up of so many different people, people of all nationalities, ethnicities. And my thing is the city needs to look like the city. A lot of times, though, I don't think that we are present. And that's just speaking from an African-American standpoint. A lot of the things that I attend for being a small business owner or being in certain places in the city, it's because, I'm a small business owner, so I find out. I look for the information. I go out, I ask questions. Mm-hmm. What can I do to help? Because I live in Bartlett and I own a business in Bartlett. So my goal is I want Bartlett to grow. So my platform, I would say for me and what I want to do in this position is build community. I need people to come out of the house. I need them to be involved. Are
you saying that you would like to see the city perhaps become more diverse?
Absolutely. But for that to happen, and for me, so let me take a step back. I don't think there's anything that's from a government standpoint. I'll say that from what I see so far. I'll be honest with you. What I've seen and me being involved and living in Bartlett, from my perspective, Bartlett's been quite fair and a really good place to live for me. Mm-hmm. Also, being a business owner, it's been quite fair, pretty good place to have a business in, according to how I am. Mm-hmm. I can't speak for everybody. Sure. But what I do notice is, in a lot of the places that I am in, or a lot of places that I go, I don't see people that look like us. And it's not a lot. I'll say that. You see some. It's not Bartlett. I just don't think we either. And what I've heard from since I've been appointed is that, I didn't know that they had this, or I didn't know that this was going on. So my goal is to make people come out and get involved, and learn what's going on in the city. And when you start learning things and being present, then there comes about areas and opportunities to make things a little bit more diverse.
Yeah, so you're talking about people being more, inclusive and present, as you say, to really kind of see and understand how to help to make and those type of situations and conversations that you have with citizens that you speak to would give you ideas, I would imagine, as to how you would continue trying to move the city forward in various areas, because you do bring a certain perspective. I live in Bartlett myself, and we are the minority population out there, but again, there's plenty to get into, and there's plenty to understand about our city. And one of the things that I've noticed on your website in particular is, it's not about me, it's about we. It is about Bartlett. We are the community, and I need to hear your voices, and I need to hear your suggestions, because only then you can sort of formulate a plan on how you want to attack moving forward and being, more promotional in terms of our city, correct?
Yes, correct. Being more effective, because, I'm trying to choose my words in a way to say, out of sight, out of mind. You understand? So it's like, for people to consider, for me to think about you, Chip, for me to think about you or consider you in any form, I have to see you, because we talk, we have conversation, we find out, hey, what's going on with this?
Sure.
I would love if we could do that. Mm-hmm. So I think that, we're not as present, like you said, being a minority, we're not as present as we should be in being involved in the community. I think Bartlett, for so many Black people, is like, even me having a business, I don't come to Bartlett, or
wow,
I
that's
don't live around, in Bartlett. Yeah. And I think even staying in Bartlett, I think a lot of people of African American descent or Black or whatever, they still have that kind of mindset, even though they live in Bartlett, because it's, we feel like it's a safe place to live.
Sure.
But we don't mess around in Bartlett. And what I'm saying is, we need to get involved in our city so that we can, your thoughts, your ideas, and things you can bring to the table can be considered, and I think that's what I want to kind of help to bring that forth. Like, hey, what would you like to see?
Sure.
What is it that you would like to do, or are you interested in doing this in the city?
Sure.
Well, they have a board or a commission, or they have this project coming up and they're looking for volunteers. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times we don't know about those things. And I'm saying we, meaning African American, Black people in our community. And if you go to the Bartlett website, it's readily available. There's other places. So I just want to make sure that we're well informed and we get involved in our community, because the community is diverse, and it's more than just one race or one ethnicity. It's made of so many different type of people in Bartlett.
Let me ask you one final question. Do you consider yourself a trailblazer?
I guess I am. Yes, I am. I mean.
Well, you're the first, right? I mean, there'll never be another first. So that's why I asked that question.
Yeah, there will not be another first. I am the first, and I hope that I do a good job. I hope that I represent our city well of Bartlett. I represent the African American community well, the community of women that are in Bartlett. I just want voices to be heard. And I think we have a great administration in Bartlett. I think we have a great administration that's willing to hear and listen. And I think we need to step up and make, our
hold them
ideas
accountable
and thoughts known.
Yeah. And hold the officials accountable, correct?
And hold us accountable for it. Absolutely.
Well, listen, Monique, it has really been a pleasure talking with you. And again, congratulations on this position and, of course, your business. And if y'all get out to Bartlett, check out Biscuits and Jams. She got it going on out there. Anyway, Monique Williams, Alderwoman, Position 4, Bartlett, Tennessee. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. I really appreciate it. Great having you.
Thank you, Chip. I'm looking forward. I'm going to have some biscuits waiting on you, too, okay?
Don't even start. See, you're starting already. Thank you, Monique. Take care. We'll talk down the road. Okay.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Excellent interview, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about your health. And I don't think it includes biscuits, but that's okay. We'll deal with that later. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. Don't go away.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
WYXR is supported by the On Stage at the Halloran Center featuring the Travelin' McCurrys on Friday, October 13th. The McCurry brothers were born into the bluegrass tradition and have teamed up with a line of musicians to take the tradition of the genre to new heights. More information at orpheum-memphis.com.
WYXR is supported by Memfo, presenting Green Sky Bluegrass at Minglewood Hall on Thursday, November 16th. This is an all-ages show and will include an opening set by Lindsay Liu. Ticket information and availability at memfopresents.com.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. And we're going to talk a little bit about your health now. This month is Sickle Cell Awareness Month. Of course, there are many folks, not only here in Memphis and Shelby County, who are dealing with sickle cell, either the disease or the trait, but even nationally as well. But there are a lot of other things that the health challenges that we have here. So I'm very happy to have on the show Dr. Childi Zacheaus, and he is a scientist, he's an educator, and he's the director of Fahardy Health. And Dr. Zacheaus, it's good to see you, and thanks for coming on the show tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
So listen, you're having a health event coming up here relatively soon. And why did you feel it was important? I mean, obviously, you're a doctor and you deal with a lot of people in a lot of different health situations and circumstances. But why was this so important? Because I know that one of the things that you emphasize is really informing the public.
Yes. It's important because when you are in a biomedical system and you realize that the language we use in that system is different from the ordinary language. And so a lot of people don't really understand science, and they don't understand their body. They don't understand anything that goes on in the medical world. Mm-hmm. And so if you're having a problem, you don't really know what to do, where to go. And oftentimes you ignore the problem and it piles up until it becomes a bigger issue. And if people know a lot of this information and educated about it, it will reduce the burden on the healthcare when it becomes bad. So we don't want it to get bad. We want you to be informed about it, to understand it, and to start doing some preventive measures ahead of time so it doesn't become a bigger issue later on. So I feel it's important not only because that's a calling, that's something I've been passionate about my whole life, but because our community needs healing. And to do that, we need to start with educating individuals to understand their body, to understand diseases, and to know what to do when they notice any of the signs and symptoms of those diseases.
Well, that's very interesting because I think a lot of us perish from a lack of knowledge. And, what you're trying to do is to let people know really on the front end some of the things that we need to do. Now, in reference to sickle cell, which, of course, as I mentioned, is a pretty good problem. Now, it's a trait, right, that people get. And I do know now that they're actually testing newborns that come out to see if their parent in particular may have had the sickle cell trait to see if they have it. Am I correct in that?
Yes, the test recently, U.S. has done a good job in testing newborn children in all 50 states. In Africa, it's really terrible because there's no testing for it. And so you have the large proportion of children being born with the disease. Mm-hmm. About 120, 30,000 children get born with the disease, and most of them die within their 5th birthday. Oh, wow. So the testing in those regions is not prevalent. And I'm working with an organization called Let's Create Together Now.org. And this organization is trying to address that problem in Africa. In the U.S., I think a lot of the problem is part ignorance, in not only from the parent side, but to everyone. And we need to understand the disease a lot more better. Even though you're being tested as a child, sometimes the testing might not be adequate. If you do a genetic testing, it might give you awareness that this particular gene is actually mutated. But if you only do a blood sample, the blood sample is not sufficient, because within the first 6 months of the child being born, that blood sample is not going to give you a sickle cell red blood cells, because the child is still operating from a different gene called the fetal hemoglobin gene. And that fetal hemoglobin gene is not really mutated. Nothing is wrong with it. It's only after 6 months that fetal hemoglobin gene start to decrease and the adult hemoglobin gene start to become expressed. And the adult hemoglobin gene is what's usually mutated. So if you test a child within the first 6 months or 3 months or so, or right at when they're born, and you only did blood tests, their blood might actually look normal because nothing is wrong with it. But if you wait after 6 months or maybe a year and you do the test, it might give you a more sickle cell red blood shape. And so if you do a genetic analysis, a DNA analysis, it might give you a much more better informed decision to know which gene is mutated, rather than just looking at the blood cells. I hope that explained it.
No,
enough.
yeah, it does. So the event that you're having, this health fair, if you will, a healthcare event. Tell us a little bit about that and why you thought it was so important to hold that.
Yes, I thought it was important not only because, again, this is a disease that's dear to me. I know people who are affected by it, and I work with the organization that's trying to address it in Africa and the African Village Institute of Memphis. They are also trying to address health concerns and health challenges. Sickle cell disease is what I'm starting with, because this month is a sickle cell disease awareness month. The next month I'll be doing a different disease, like, inflammation and diabetes and inflammation and heart disease, to help people understand. And so the reason why I also start with sickle cell disease is because when you understand sickle cell disease, you really understand most diseases in general, because they have so much to do with inflammation. And inflammation, when it happens in your body and you understand inflammation at its core, you will know what to do. You have some natural remedies you can use. You can go and consult with a doctor and be informed, and you can communicate with them from that level. And so explaining sickle cell disease will help you understand inflammation. And when you understand inflammation, every other disease will make sense to you once you've been explained. That's why I decided to start with sickle cell disease.
Wow. Okay. As a people, we generally, as an African American culture, we have bad habits. In particular, our nutritional habits, and we all know this. Diabetes, high blood pressure, as you mentioned, heart disease are just three of the big ones that affect us the most. And so it sounds like, what you're really doing is targeting, as you talked about, inflammation and what we need to do and pay more attention to as a culture to sort of keep us moving in the right direction. Because we have bad habits. We have bad eating habits. We don't exercise. Yes. We don't do some of the things that we need to do. And those are the type of things that you're really emphasizing. Am I correct in that?
Yes, I'm emphasizing a key central components to what I emphasize is that you are earth, you are water, you are air. And so if you understand that this is a part of your body, you're not just a physical component. You are also water, and your body is 75% water. Mm-hmm. Your body, physical body, 99% or so of what makes everything about you is in the dirt. Exactly what's in the dirt is what's in you, what's made you. Mm-hmm. And so you need to understand that you have to keep, like you keep your car oil in service every often, you have to constantly give your body those things it needs to keep you healthy, to sustain you. And if you don't give your body those minerals, those vitamins that comes from the ground, it's not going to help us heal you. It's not going to help repair many of the damages that it's been causing from all the processed food or so much of the things you put in your body. And so there gets a point where your body says, I'm going to give up because you haven't been taking care of me. And so instead of waiting to that point, you have to understand that everything you need comes from the ground. That's the first thing you need to get drilled in your head. And if you go to the ground and get your food, your fruits, your vegetables, and consume those, you will get all the minerals and the vitamins, as I said earlier, that will help you balance your body. And the goal is to bring you back to balance, because right now, as you mentioned, those bad habits of eating has made your body into a chaotic environment. It's, in a way, a lot acidic, and those starts to cause a lot of issues. So when you ingest the things that's going to bring you back to balance, which are mostly alkaline and things that are rich with these minerals and vitamins, and all these light sources, it's going to bring you back to balance. And that also come with drinking enough water.
Yeah.
Trying not to consume too much soda because it's not good for you.
Sure.
And at the same time, walk a little bit, maybe 30 minutes, go outside and get some sunlight so your body can make vitamin D naturally. Go and breathe fresh air. Like these simple things you should be doing.
Yeah.
I think it's what I'm trying to emphasize. So we get on the preventive side of the medicine than waiting until it's too late.
Before I let you go, when is the event? When is it going to happen?
The event is scheduled right now at the North Branch, Memphis, which is right close to where the African Village Institute of Memphis is.
Yeah.
And it's scheduled for September 30th from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. It's both in person and online. So if you do want to get online, you do have to go on and register ahead of time. So the link will be sent to you. And if you can't find the address available, just go to my website, faharihealth.com/event. That's Fahari, FAHARRI, health, HEALTH.com/event. And you can see all the events that are scheduled to come this month and in the next few months. Click on the sickle cell one, and it will take you to a site where you can register. And then I will send a link to you before the event. But yeah, come and learn what you can, and hopefully what you learn will be of service to you.
Absolutely that. Thank you so much, Dr. Zacheaus, for coming on the show tonight. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all the great information as well. And hopefully this first event that you are putting on is going to be one of many. Appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. You too. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And, he said that many of us don't want to hear about health and nutrition and things like that. Now, my friend Jet asked about COVID. And COVID is that little subject that none of us want to talk about. But COVID numbers nationally in this country are starting to rise. And you need to take the necessary precautions in terms of that. You have COVID, and then you have the flu season, which is about here, and RSV, which is a respiratory illness that affects children and older folks as well. So look, I'm not going to tell you to get a flu shot, but I'm going to tell you to get a flu shot. If you don't want to get one, that's on you. I'm getting mine. And also, there is a new vaccine for COVID that should be available sometime this week at your local pharmacy. You might want to check that out as well. Because, show of hands, how many want to go around wearing masks again, huh? I mean, actually having to be made to wear a mask. There you go. So anyway, thank you. As Bryn plays this out, been a great show. Great show. And a lot of folks on the listen. I missed you all last week. All you all were busy. Every last one of you were busy on this on the live stream. But you're all back tonight, and even some new faces. So thank you, all the regular folks, for tuning in, checking us out tonight, listening, supporting the show. Continue to support the show. Check out the podcast. Download the podcast. Tell people about the podcast. However you do it. You know I appreciate it. I humbly appreciate it. So for Nicole, for Bryn, for Lola, and Level Lola, same person by the way, I'm Chip. Have a great week. Be safe. Be careful. And just take care of yourself, okay? We'll talk to you soon. I'm out.